Hey guys, welcome back to yet another episode of In the Den with AG. I'm AG, your host, and I thought we could start off this podcast episode talking a little bit about the NBA All-Star Game, which is just last weekend's. Let's break it down. So basically, if you don't already know, the NBA decided to change up the format this year. Instead of having the East versus West, they decided to have Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Candace Parker, and Kenny to draft their team each, and they would compete against each other in like a little mini tournament. So in the semifinals, we had Chuck's Global Stars, which basically consisted of all of the young players, which basically included Pascal Siakam, Karl Anthony Towns, Jokic, maybe not that young, but so we have them from the Global Stars. From the Young Stars, actually, we have Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Williams, Evan Mobley, and Chuck's Global Stars won 41-32 against Kenny's Young Stars. And in the other semifinal game, we had Candace's Rising Stars against Shaq's OGs. Shaq's OGs included players like Jason Tatum, James Harden, Stephen Curry, KD, Damian Lillard. Candace's Rising Stars, it featured all the rookies, which featured players like Dalton Knecht, Zach Edey, Stephon Castle, Amen Thompson, and more. In that game, 42-35, Shaq's OGs win. And in the final, we had Shaq's OGs beating out Chuck's Global Stars 41-25, with Jason Tatum being the top scorer for the game. And in the end, Stephen Curry won All-Star Game MVP, capturing his second title in the All-Star Game. So let's break down the winners and losers of the weekend. I think the winner is obviously Stephen Curry. He played great for Shaq's OGs. He even hit a half-court shot that when I was watching, I was amazed by that still. He obviously captured an MVP, so I think that's obviously a great achievement for him, just as the shooter he is. But one thing did stood out to me that was a little off, and Draymond Green even mentioned this during the All-Star Game. It was a little strange seeing, just seeing Candace's Rising Stars, like players like Amen Thompson, Dalton Knecht, like I already mentioned. It was kind of weird seeing them play against all the actual All-Stars that were selected by the fans, the media, etc. I did like it at first because it did give the OGs and all the old players a reason to play hard, because you wouldn't want to lose to a bunch of 20-year-olds. That's what I was thinking at first, but over time I realized it was a little strange. It was a little weird. But maybe we just gotta get used to it or something. I don't know. But so going on now into the other events of All-Star weekends, the 3-point contest. Damian Lillard was going for a 3-peat in the 3-point contest. Another winner of last weekend would be Tyler Hero. He dethroned Dame to win the 3-point contest. He did exceptional, as with other members as well, like Dame, Jalen Brunson did well as I saw there, and obviously others. In the dunk contest, Mac McClung is a winner as well, I say. He 3-peated after his spectacular dunks, after he dunked over a car as well. I think that was his best dunk out of them. And, yeah, I'll call him a winner there. I'd say a loser here would be LeBron James, because he was listed as injured because it was something nagging in his foot that kept him out of the All-Star game. He's been back since, but he gets a low grade here, like a D, I guess, because he did break his streak, and I think the viewership did go down a little bit with LeBron out of All-Star weekends, but I think it's still okay. It's not that big a deal in the end of the day. And I wouldn't exactly call the NBA a winner here. I feel like they need more to improve the All-Star game, the All-Star weekend, I guess you could say. I did like the Four Nations format that the NHL was doing, that was trying out this year. They had players fighting to the death. And meanwhile, NBA players are crying to their agents if they twist their ankle in the All-Star game. You see the insanity of that. They don't want to like twist their ankle. NHA players, like I just said, are like fighting for their nation just so they can win. Now that's passion there. That's passion. So I believe that the NBA should adopt something like that. I propose a USA versus the world match. And the NBA was considering now doing a 1v1 tournament, which I think would be fun. Players like Kyrie and Anthony Davis said that they were hyped, they were stoked for that game. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Another loser that everybody's calling losers in this scenario would be Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama, because they were disqualified during All-Star weekends because of I guess they found a loophole. They found a loophole during All-Star weekend when they were doing the skills tournaments, where they found out it's just about time. You don't have to shoot the ball and make it, I guess. And they were disqualified by the NBA. They told later about that. So I don't see a lot of problems with that. I felt like that was smart. I felt like that was pretty smart. But I don't know. Maybe the NBA is just a little uptight, I guess. They didn't really have to disqualify them like that. They could have just maybe done a redo, I guess. I don't know. But speaking of Victor Wembanyama, he is officially out for the rest of the season with a blood clot in his right shoulder, which was found out after the All-Star game. So Wemby hasn't really gone out to the media about this, hasn't spoken about it. But the Spurs say he is hopeful to return in the next upcoming season by opening night. But the thing that scares me is, for example, Chris Bosh had the same issue, blood clots, which is the reason why his career ended early. That's pretty serious. But I hope Wemby's okay. Wembanyama says he's emotionally doing well after the diagnosis. He said Shams reported that they believe that he'll play next season already. They don't think it's really long-term issues with Wemby's health, and we'll see how Wemby is at the beginning of next season. Prayers to him. And speaking of the Spurs, Greg Popovich, who has not coached since suffering a stroke back in November, is also expected to not return this season. He won't make it till again around the same time Wemby returns because he's still having problems, strokes and such. Both of them have been speaking frequently about this. Greg Popovich has been very hands-on with Wemby following his diagnosis, and I'm just glad that Wemby and that doctors were able to find out Wemby's blood clots earlier, because that could have turned out very, very bad. And it also eliminates Wembanyama for any major awards, because he will not reach the 65 game limit. He will miss the rest of the season because of that. So he will not win Defensive Player of the Year, which was widely expected to be gifted to him this year. He was the runaway favorite. And now, since he's out, the betting lines have changed. Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Grizzlies is going after his second Defensive Player of the Year award. And following him would be Evan Mobley of the Cavaliers. So it will be a two-horse race, between a two-man race, to see who will win that. Wemby was recording the most blocks in the NBA for the second straight season at the time of his diagnosis. He'll end his sophomore campaign having averaged 24.3 points and 11 rebounds through 46 games, and he just turned 21 in January, so very recently. So that's very interesting. In other NBA news, Luka Doncic went off against the Nuggets. He's finally had a breakthrough after his first few games with the Lakers was very underwhelming. In my opinion, he could have done better. They're finally using him on the offense because he has been trying to balance out the offense with LeBron James because it's not the same as he had in Dallas, where he basically ran the offense, gave lobs and stuff like that, received lobs. Now he's got to share it with LeBron James, and I feel like that's the rest of the season. They shouldn't go after the championship. They should just figure out how to use the both of them in the offense together. But again, he went off that game. It was his best game by far in a Lakers uniform, and he had 32 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, and a block. So I hope that Doncic will get better through this. LeBron obviously is doing this thing, and I hope that I think their chemistry will link, especially together, very nicely, and we'll see what happens for the rest of the season. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll be back with another special episode next time. Peace out.